What's up, homies? Welcome back to another video. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about sleep, why it's important, and why you really need to be focused on it a lot more. This is something that has really been in recent culture. There's been like a resurgence and a renewal in the fact that sleep is important, but I really seriously do not think it is stressed enough. Outside of the health and fitness community is where I see the most people recognizing the effects of it. But outside that community, I don't see enough people talking about sleep, why it's helpful and that goes for only the people that tend to be actually looking for those sort of things. So the people that are really looking to improve their health and or fitness tend to also learn from people who care about similar things, why sleep is so important. And I think in especially in society today, it is extremely overlooked in why sleep is important and how important it is and how it can affect you. So I'm going to be giving you the reasons why I think you should pay attention to it more. And this is going to come from both what I understand as research scientifically. I'm not going to give the exact journals, the scientific journals, and the exact studies that have been conducted. If you want to look those up and prove me wrong, you can show this to me, give me the exact research that has been done, and I can look over those myself. And if those are incorrect, anything I say is incorrect, feel free to correct me. But I've done enough research over the years, and I feel like I really do know what I'm talking about when it comes to sleep. And like I said, I'm also gonna be giving anecdotal experience on how sleep has affected me, because I tend to be a person that is very heavily focused on my own psyche, where I'm at and what things affect me. Not that that's some kind of flex or anything, but as somebody who's very observant of how things affect them and how things push and pull me in certain ways, I really can tell how it can be easily overlooked how much sleep you are actually getting affects you. And I can also see how it actually does affect you. So let's get right into it. So first things first, the biggest thing that I want to address that most people will say is going to be, I don't feel that tired, or not getting enough sleep doesn't really affect me. First of all, I want to say that's untrue. And you may not feel tired, but think about it this way. If from a very young age I have abusive parents and or let's just say it's verbal abuse, or they're just very rude and very harsh, more than necessary to me. If that's my everyday, if that's my normal, when someone acts the same way to me at school or someone else treats me like that, I'm not going to say, wow, that made me feel like crap. What is wrong with this person? Because I'm used to it. I'm used to the negative effects so much that has become my new baseline. And that's a big reason why maybe you don't feel that you are suffering, because you don't realize it. And the same thing applies when you are inebriated, when you are intoxicated, especially with alcohol. What people will tend to say, and it can be true to a slight degree, is, I'm okay to drive. I'm fine. And maybe if you literally have one single beer or something like that, maybe you are fine to drive. But a majority of the time, you still will have a significant amount of drinks and you are significantly impaired. And it's not the fact that you just are so intoxicated and that's why you can't drive, or that's why it's not safe to drive. But it's the fact that because you are intoxicated, because you've had too much drinks, and you can compare this with because you haven't had enough sleep, you actually are not capable of telling that you are drunk, because of the fact that you are drunk. When you are drunk, it affects your decision making, it affects your perception of things, and that includes your perception of your current state. So, same thing applies. When you're drunk, if you are not majorly drunk, you may think and be genuinely under the impression that you are able to drive properly and you can drive safely. But your judgment is influenced because of the fact that you have had alcohol. And the same thing applies when you don't get enough sleep. You think it doesn't really affect you. However, the fact that you haven't been getting enough sleep affects your ability to actually tell what much sleep you actually are needing. And most people really think that they're so special. They think they are under this like 0.00 whatever % of people that just don't require more than 5 to 6 hours of sleep. And that's literally, I'm sorry, but that's delusional. You are delusional if you believe that, unless you have gone to multiple doctors and they have conducted multiple studies on you saying that you have this specific genetic mutation that allows you to get less than 6 hours of sleep a night and be completely fine and be impaired in no way. Unless you've done that, you are delusional, and that's not true. But what I do want to say is most people aren't going to be able to tell that they're underslept if they're constantly underslept, because that becomes their new normal. But that doesn't mean that if they get more sleep that they can't do better. I guarantee you, if you get an average of 6 hours of sleep a night, if you start getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, not just one night, not just 2 or 3 nights in a row, but consistently with an average of 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night, in as far as you can in the foreseeable future, you will notice an improvement in not only your mood, you'll probably see a positive influence in your libido, in your ability to focus, memorize, your mood. Like, I don't know if I said mood already. Mood is going to be enhanced, and it's going to improve all aspects of your life. Your ability to have energy in the gym and outside the gym, your ability to grow muscle. It's going to actually improve your cognitive ability. So one research has been done, which I can try to look for it. I'm not going to promise anything because sometimes I'd be lazy. But the exact study, I don't exactly remember, but what I remember it referring to is the fact that people that don't get enough sleep, let's say you get 5 hours of sleep a night, you are actually as much impaired as somebody is when they have a couple drinks. Maybe not a lot of super heavy alcohol drinks, but the fact is you are actually mentally impaired, and sleep driving, or whenever you are in a sleep deprived state, so super sleep deprived state, is actually as dangerous and or sometimes more dangerous than drunk driving. And not that drunk driving is safe, but the fact is sleep deprivation is a serious thing and can really negatively impact you to the point where your judgment is so clouded, not only physically but mentally, that you are not the same person anymore, and you are not capable of making proper decisions, and you are just not at your best. So most people are going to say, well, it doesn't matter, I can get by. Okay, that's all you want to know. If you can get by, that's just fine. Go ahead and leave this video, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that sleep really does affect you more than you think. In my personal experience, I'm going to give some anecdotal evidence here. And this is before people told me, and before Andrew Huberman Online was mega popular, and I just saw everywhere people saying, oh, get more sleep, get 7-8 hours of sleep a night. That's before anybody even really talked about that. This was maybe 2018, 2019. I just so happened to notice this in myself. But I started going to bed, and I think I should be going to bed earlier than this at night now. But at the time, I was going to bed around 1 to 2 a.m. at night. And then I was getting up at 7:30 a.m. So I was getting 5 to 6.5 hours of sleep a night. And I was not making the best decisions at that time. Whether or not I can draw a specific correlation with the fact that the decisions I was making were as a result of my lack of sleep, I can't for sure do that, because there's a lot of factors, the people I was around, all that stuff. But what I can say is that towards the middle to the end of my senior year, I realized that, okay, you know what? I'm going to set a specific bedtime, and I'm going to wake up at a specific time every day. I'm going to try my best to get 7 hours of sleep each night. I don't know why, the exact reason I did, but I realized I should probably be getting a little more sleep. And I kid you not, I went to bed made sure I was in bed, lights off, and about to fall asleep by midnight every single night. And again, I still, even now, think that I should be getting to bed a little earlier than that on average. But I was going to bed and being asleep or almost asleep by 12 midnight, waking up at 7 to 7:30 every day, and giving myself time to wake up in the morning. So I was getting, on average, 7 hours of sleep a night to 7.5, and sometimes even 8 hours of sleep. But average of 7 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, I would say, a night. And I saw a literal noticeable difference. And this may sound exaggerated, but I genuinely could recognize that my mood was improved. I was literally happy for no reason at school. And do you know how crazy that sounds to somebody who just you're just like normal all the time. Well, at school, I would literally be more full of energy, even with just 7 to 7.5 hours sleep, which is like the minimum you really should be getting for you not to have any noticeable sleep deprivation side effects or any kind of cognitive negative effect on you. I noticed that I was literally more energetic. I was in a better mood, and I was able to focus more in school. And school was not my main focus at the time. I was so focused on with the people that I was around, just hanging out and having fun with life and stuff. But I started noticing my ability to actually focus in class was improving, which I previously didn't really care that much about. I noticed that I was able to have more energy, not only like mentally, but physically as well. And like I said, I was in a better mood constantly. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously. So I took it a little bit more seriously. And long story short, I had a direct correlation with the fact that my mood was improved, my energy was improved, my ability to focus was improved, and my physical performance was also improved, all by the fact that I got more sleep at night. And this is very significant because everyone's looking for the next thing, the next supplement, the next thing that's going to boost your performance and stuff, performance enhancing drugs. That's why you hear about steroids. That's why you see people taking Adderall to have better focus. You think of those things because you know for a fact if you take them, they will improve your specific markers, whether that's your ability to focus or stay focused or your attention, whatever, your energy. You know that if you take steroids, it's going to enhance your performance. If you take Adderall or some other high level stimulant, you know that it is going to enhance your performance in a good way. But what if we shifted our focus from the easy way out? We can shift our focus to the fact that sleep is something that we can literally control for a majority of the people. There's a lot you can do to improve your environment so that you can sleep better. And it will, and I'm telling you, not it might, it probably, but it will improve your different markers in your mood, your energy, your physical energy, your like all those things, your ability to focus, your ability to memorize things, like all those things will, just like steroids, just like any kind of stimulant drugs, will improve those things to a noticeable degree if you are committed enough. Yes, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy when you're used to being on your phone right before you go to bed each night. It's not going to be easy to say, okay, I know that if I stay on my phone like within the next, like an hour before I go to sleep, that's going to be harder for me to fall asleep. So it's going to be easier for me to stay up on my phone until I just pass out. Yes, that's going to be easier. What's going to be easier than dedicating your time to making sure that you're getting to sleep on time so that you can have more energy in school? What's going to be easier than that? Yeah, probably taking some kind of drugs or something that's going to help you focus. Yes, obviously. But the thing that you can do without doing something crazy like that, that's going to also start messing with your brain chemistry and everything like that, is your sleep. And it will improve all those things. Yes, it may not improve it to the degree of something like Adderall, but think about it logically. Just because cocaine is going to give me a ton of energy and make me super enthusiastic about what I'm doing, do I need to do cocaine multiple times a shift for every shift I have at work? No, you would say that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. That's too extreme. You don't need that. You could drink a caffeine drink. Okay, yes, that's true. If I really needed the energy, I could have something, a caffeine drink. So the same applies for like Adderall. Like, why just because, and I'm not saying for the people that are ADHD here and you're prescribed the medication and you have a legitimate use for it, but I'm saying, why do we go to such extreme and easy measures to try and fix these problems rather than the solution that's right in front of us? So what I'm saying to y'all is you need to sleep more, and it will improve your ability to focus, your energy, your mood, your libido, all these other things. It's going to positively improve you in at least one of the ways if you consistently do it over time. If you get 8 to 12 hours of sleep in one night, and then all of a sudden the next couple days you get like 6 hours of sleep, yes, obviously it's not going to have a positive effect on you, but it will if you continuously do it over time. Is it going to be easy? Like I said, No, it's going to take effort because society is forming us to now, maybe it's not on purpose, but we are normalizing staying up later and not getting enough sleep and just doing what we can to manage that. But the reality is that for a lot of us, it affects us either more than we realize or way more than we are able to handle. And now I'm going to shift my focus over to people that are ADHD, like myself. I am extremely ADHD. Just about everybody in my family, and I know there's going to be people who will say, ADHD doesn't exist. It's made up. Whatever. If that's what you want to say, you can think that. That's fine. I disagree. But the same thing applies for people that are ADHD is, yes, getting medicated is going to make things extremely easy and extremely simple. Rather than having to put in effort mentally to just get off my phone an hour and a half before I go to sleep at night, dim the lights a little bit more so that I fall asleep easier, so that it makes my ADHD symptoms less bad, so that I can, I get to bed on time, I get better sleep. It literally decreases the symptoms I have of my ADHD. Is it going to take more effort to do that than just getting Adderall prescribed and then taking Xanax or something at night to help me fall asleep, so that since I'm so overstimulated by my phone and the lights and everything and the TV that I just have to take Xanax to pass out every night? Yeah, it's going to be easier to take a medication to fall asleep and take a medication to stay awake and alert all day, every day. Yes, obviously. But if you do everything you can to get the proper sleep, and also there's a whole thing with nutrition that goes into it. There are things that exacerbate the effects of ADHD and other things like that when you eat and ingest certain things. Excuse me. But specifically when it comes to sleep, I just really want to emphasize that even with people with ADHD, I noticed a significant difference in my impulsivity, in my ability to concentrate and focus on things, and my energy levels and mood and ability to control all my symptoms of ADHD, all just by sleeping more. And specifically for people that struggle with ADHD, I could not recommend this more, because a theory that I do have is that not as only is ADHD just something that's wrong with the brain, but maybe, and this is a maybe it has to do with the fact that the people that are diagnosed with ADHD just so happen to be much more sensitive to a deficiency in things such as sleep or other things that may affect you in your life. I don't know, maybe light or foods and other things like that. And all these combining factors cause you to have a wildly different difficulty with controlling your impulses, with being distractible, being your energy being all over the place. And maybe that's what it is. But I know for a fact that what I've noticed is that just by getting more sleep, I was able to significantly decrease the effects of my ADHD and even decrease how much medication I have to use. And that, if it's significant enough for me to have to use less medication, that means something. So not only for the ADHD people, but just for everybody, I just recommend y'all, please get more sleep, and you will notice improvements in just about every aspect of your life. And you need to consistently do this. And this is going to be what my recommendation is to get the best sleep. So this may not be for everybody. You may not be able to do all these things. And if you can't, that doesn't mean you're going to get the worst sleep ever. This is just what I believe is going to be the most optimal without having to ingest or take any supplements. So first thing, if it's possible, within 30 minutes of waking up, you want to see the sun and get direct eye contact with the sun, or not direct eye contact with the sun, You want to get direct sunlight on you or on your face within 30 minutes of you waking up. If you can see the sun actually rising, that's going to be even better for you. But you want to try and get sunlight within 30 minutes of you waking up and be facing the general direction of the sun. This will set, I'm going to use a metaphor here, but this will set the little clocks in your body's cells to tell you to release cortisol earlier in the day to help you be more alert, be more awake, and things like that. And also set your cells later in the day for it to tell you when to release melatonin so that you get tired at the right time at night. So this will improve even better if you do it within 30 minutes of waking up and you actually see the sunrise. But that's what you want to do. And then you also want to avoid any caffeine, especially after like 6 p.m. Some people, you're going to have to play and figure out with what your actual sleep effect is when it comes to caffeine. If I drink any caffeine past 5 or 6 p.m., even as somebody who doesn't like get like super wired for 6 hours after I drink caffeine, I can drink caffeine and after 30 minutes to like an hour, the effects of it have pretty much subsided. I'm not noticing. But regardless of if you notice the effects or not, similar to sleep, they still will affect you and make it more difficult for you to have the proper sleep you need. Not just falling asleep, but if you drink caffeine too late and say you fall asleep still, it can affect like your REM sleep, your deep sleep, etc., which will still make you not get the proper sleep you need and make you feeling tired the next day, even though technically, yes, you fell asleep. That's why if you take a bunch of things like Benadryl every single night, it's going to be bad, I believe, for your REM sleep, which is still going to mess with your sleep regardless of if it helps you pass out. It's still going to affect your sleep. So, yeah, you just trying to remember the whole point I even said right there is the caffeine. Yes, you don't want to have caffeine past. Some people even say 3 to 5 p.m. is too late. For me, I can have it up to about 5 p.m. and it's about 5 p.m. right now, which means I'm not really going to be able to have more caffeine if I want to go to bed on time tonight. But no caffeine towards the late afternoon because the half-life of caffeine, I believe, is like 6 hours or something like that. So half of the caffeine will still be in your blood system and running through your body 6 hours after you ingest it. So there's that. And then also at night, you want to start to avoid any kind of light that's above you because that will also, it's almost like sending signals to your brain that the sun is still out. So if you possibly can, if you're able to, and have your house lit by candle to where any lights are beneath your eyes, it will simulate something like the sunset. But if you can actually watch the sunset, that will be even better, and that will also tell your body to release melatonin. So if you can see the sunset, look at it directly and watch it set so that, and not only is that a great thing for the mind and the soul, but just like looking at the sunset, it's beautiful. It's also good for you physically because it will tell your body to release melatonin so that you can fall asleep easier. And it's not difficult. You're not having to force your body to fall asleep by taking a bunch of melatonin or other things. And let me see. The last thing is, like I said, try to avoid any bright light, especially above you. Any light that you want to try to have them below eye level because, like I said, it almost simulates that sunset type thing. So it's not releasing more cortisol and making you think you need to be alert and awake. But try to avoid that if you can have, and I don't even have these, red light. I think red light or something like that helps to avoid your brain being further stimulated to keep you awake. And the last thing is I recommend get off your phone an hour to an hour and a half before bed. If you can get off your phone an hour and a half before you go to sleep, even better. But being on your phone in any way, not only the blue light affects you and keeps you awake, and I don't care what you say, it's not just the fact that you have a blue light blocker on your phone screen. It's the fact that the brightness of your actual screen. So if you have your phone all the way dim with the blue light blocker super far away from you for like 10 seconds, it's not going to ruin your sleep, but also having a blue light blocker and having it really dim up to your face isn't a good idea either because it's still going to affect your sleep. So if you can, try to get off your phone from an hour to an hour and a half before you go to bed because the blue light and also the phone stimulation does keep you awake. And obviously avoid any kind of stimulants in the hours preceding bed because those will also have their effects in keeping you awake. But these are all my recommendations on what you should do to improve your sleep. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below, your experiences when it comes to sleep. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. See y'all homies next video. Peace out, gamers.